right, everybody, welcome in Judgemetaltv, continuing coverage of the KBO's Hanwha Eagles. Very early in the season, but we continue on with our coverage. Our Eagles, as you can see on the scene, or on the screen, excuse me, are off to a 6-7-2 start. So not exactly tearing up the KBO so far this year, but there are highlights and there are lowlights, and we're going to talk about that today and give you a like a 3-week update into the season of where we stand right now. So sitting at 6th place in the standings, as we said, 6-7-2, game behind Samsung and a half game ahead of SSG. I will start by looking at the lineup. Honestly, probably where the biggest problem with this team is right now is offense. It comes down to that, really. I've got a couple guys in this lineup who are hitting the ball well, and there are some folks who are definitely underachieving. Made some lineup changes to try to make an adjustment for that. You're looking right now at our lineup against right-handers here on the screen in the center. Kim moves into the leadoff spot, even though he is not exactly tearing up the league. He's hitting 200, but a 344 on base percentage. Not a great on base percentage. Considering you're hitting 200, it's not a terrible on base percentage. So we decided to move him up because of his speed. Let me bring him back up again. You've got that speed, and you've got his ability to make contact. We did sign him to a 4-year contract, so we are invested in this guy. Hopefully, as our center fielder, could move around if the center field thing doesn't work out. But so far, he's been very good defensively. Offensively has been where he's been lacking a bit. Average on its way up, or it was climbing. Went 1 for his last 10. Prior to that, he had been starting to hit the ball. Moved up to the top of the lineup, like I said, because the on-base percentage is not great, but he is getting on. We're going to try to use that speed to create some offense. We moved on the first baseman up to the number 2 spot. On and the designated hitter, Che. Both guys, as we always talk about, getting paid over $1 million on a club that has a $13 million budget for the players. So those two guys are very, very important. And so far, doing an all right job here. 321, 397 is his on-base percentage. Not a ton of power, but not expecting a ton of power out of him. But a guy who will get on base, make some good contact, hopefully drive in some runs. We got him at second because we want him to set up Moon and then No. Moon was leading off. We moved him to the number 3 spot. So far this season, 246, just a 278 on base percentage. We're just kind of sticking with him because we need him to come through. This guy has to. He's a big part of our plans. He's a young man, but he's just a huge part of the plans. He's got to come through for us. Moved him over to left field. The bat continues to develop. I think before too long, that batting average is going to be up. No, the third baseman, last year's MVP, off to a really solid start again. 349, 391 on base percentage. He's already got 4 home runs. He's driven in 8. When he's making contact, we're in the ball game right now. The problem is that he can't carry this thing by himself. Che, the right fielder, coming back around now. The hits are starting to fall for him. Started out, had a nice opening series, then kind of disappeared for a bit. But the last few days, batting average is climbing back up to where we wanted it to be. On base percentage could be higher. We're looking for him to hit behind No and give No some protection. Unsung Che, the DH. This is someone, the other guy making $1.4 million, that we really need some power from this guy, and you're just not getting it. We didn't get it that last year. We're not getting it so far this year. 219 batting average, 275 on base percentage, just a 297 slugging percentage. He's a minus 0.2 on WAR. He's only driven in 4 runs, hit 1 home run so far. I mean, I wouldn't look at these ratings and expect him to win an MVP, but we need more than this. We definitely need more than this. I have actively tried to trade him. No one is very much interested in him. So it looks like he's going to come through or we're going to lose. That's kind of how it's going to be. The shortstop. We depend on this guy a lot. He's not really overall rated that well. Solid defensive shortstop. Can run the bases. Makes contact. He does seem to, he had 284 last year. This year so far just 226, 250 on base percentage. So not a great offensive year for Jo Suk-ha. Feel like he's going to be okay, but we're also making preparations for the time when he's not our starting shortstop, and was with our first round draft pick last year, and we have a couple shortstops in the minor leagues. A lot of middle infielders down there. We'll see if any of them work out for the future, but for this year, it's his job. We got Jung at second base. Again, a guy that I look at sometimes and I think we should be getting more offensively out of him. Not a great bat, but good eye, good contact, avoids strikeouts, puts the ball in play. Just 200, 305 on base percentage. We need better than that. Last year, he only hit 240, but had the 356 on base percentage. So last year, you see 240 and you think bad year, but that on base percentage tells you that he was important and he was contributing to the team. So far this year, it's not been great. Defensively, he's there as always. Gold Glove winner at second base last year, and he's playing stellar defense. The team is playing really strong defense. We had like one game, I think, where we were throwing the ball around and gave one away, but beyond that, defensively, this team has been good. Question marks about Kim in center. He's done a good job there. Moon is going to do fine in left field. You can see he's got some room to grow, and he's already an above-average left fielder. No at third is solid. On at first base is also still a solid guy. Solid at shortstop. Really good at second. Che, I forgot to even talk about Che, the catcher, offensively. Just 175. That's really starting to hurt us. Defensively, our catchers are good. Offensively, they don't give us much. We do throw out some base runners, so they are contributing in some ways, but offensively, we're not getting anything out of the catching position. We said that offense was the biggest problem, but there is another problem on this team that could be close, and that's in the starting rotation, which has been a strength for the previous season. This year, Jin Ryu has been outstanding. He'll be pitching a little bit later, and he's been great in his first three starts. Castaneda, who was arguably our best starter last year, the best pitcher on the team last year, has not been good in three starts. He hasn't had a single good. None of those three starts were good so far. So you see that 0-1, 5.50. Looking for him to bounce back. We really need him. Vera has been good. Left the last start with an injury, but he is okay. That leads us to Lee and Jang here, 4 and 5. Lee was in the rotation last year. Didn't do terrible. Wasn't great, but he's a 34-year-old guy who this is what he is, So we thought we would get a little younger this year. Moon, who pitched all last year, has the arthritic elbow, out 3 to 4 months. Tae In-wan, someone we acquired to take over, is still out, and we don't have a return date on this. Injured list may return, it says. Rotator cuff strain, been out since March 30th. We don't know when he'll be back. So we've lost 2 of our starters, and we actually had a scare with Vera. So the starting rotation's been rough, with Castaneda struggling, injuries 3, 4, and 5. We're going to Jang as the 5th starter, and he is not really pitching that well. Last year, Jang appeared in 31 games. He did start 9, 5.05 earned run average, 3 wins, 7 losses. So not very effective last year, a negative 0.4 WAR. We have 2 guys out. We had a third guy we thought was going to go out. Jang is going to fill the gap here, maybe one more start, and then we'll find out what's going on. So Jang hopefully will make one more start, and we'll get an update on what's going on with Juan, and we'll be able to get him in the rotation. We haven't really had much chance to look at him. He's been hurt since very early on. Something that should be a strength of the team has been a bit of a problem, honestly, between Castanado's struggles and injuries in the 4 and 5 spots. We'll jump down into the bullpen now, and the best place to look at the bullpen here is this screen right here. I think overall good job. I mean, these guys have thrown a lot of innings early on with all of the issues in the rotation. You've had some games where we've had to get 8, even in some cases 9 innings out of our bullpen. They've been pretty effective. Joe's just killing it at the closing position. Kim, Erla, and Jung did get hit around a little bit, but you see overall he's 2.70 and 6 2/3. So the setup guys are getting it done. Middle relief, Park has done really well in the middle relief role. Not so great for Han. Long relief too, mixed results there. You've got Si Huan Jang throwing 9 innings, having a 5.00 ERA, and then Han 4 innings, no earned runs yet. And then Bum-So Kim, another early but effective season for him. 6 innings pitched, 0.00 on the earned run average. Bullpen feels deep in the early going. We could take a quick look at the attendance. Attendance starting to drop a little bit. If we take a look at the last home game we've played, which was right here, a 2-0 win over LG. Shoot down to the attendance. We just now are just under 7,000. Still above where we were, the pace we were on last year. And we're not exactly off to a great start. So I would say that we're optimistic about this attendance situation. Actually, there's 167.85 too. So the last 2 have been below 7,000. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Like we said before in the series, the season 2 is about winning and gaining, putting butts in seats so we can increase our revenue and climb to the top of the KBO. So really, really interesting situation has arisen that I thought I would bring you in on as well. So if you remember the playoffs last year, one of the crushing things about that final playoff loss was, if I remember correctly, we had like 2 base runners thrown out trying to get to third base with 2 outs. And I was ready to fire my third base coach. And then I realized that my third base coach is actually one of the few good coaches I have on the staff. So we didn't fire him. We kept him. And, we got a guy thrown out. Another couple guys actually over the last few days thrown out trying to get to third in situations where they shouldn't have been trying to stretch. They a slow base runner trying to get to third. And anyway, so we thought we were going to make a change at third base. Now, since our third base coach is actually a good coach, we thought about switching him to the bench coach and getting rid of our bench coach and going from there. He doesn't want to change the position, so he wants to stay at third base. So we're going to keep him there, and then at the end of the season, he's going to be gone probably. But the weird thing is, like, I had trouble finding Korean coaches. Like, the best coaches and people who are interested are all going to be outsiders. So I was debating in my mind, does that keep the spirit of this thing that we're doing if we start to bring in outside coaches? Now, me as GM and manager, maybe that's breaking the whole thing in anyway, but it would be great to have 1 or 2 good coaches here to help with this player development, because we do have quite a few young players that we're trying to develop, and we could do a better job if we do that, but that would also mean getting rid of some Korean coaches and replacing them with foreign coaches. And that's going to wrap this summary up. We got you up to speed. As we said at the beginning, the Hanwha Eagles 6-7-2, 4.5 games behind the first place Kia Tigers. but we're really looking at that 4th and 5th spot. That's where we want to be. So we're, 15 games into this thing. We're sitting in 6th. We've got 2 injured pitchers, so I suppose it could be worse. All right, well, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you being here. This brings you up to speed on where the team is right now and where we're looking to go heading forward. If you want to see some live streams, if you want to see this team on the field playing some baseball, you can join us on Twitch. Right now, Tuesday afternoons at 1:30 is our regularly scheduled live stream. We usually do about 2 games and give you an update on what the team's been up to. Join us on Twitch, Judgemetaltv. Obviously, you know where the YouTube channel is because you're watching this there. Anyway, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you being here. Like, subscribe, please. If you do enjoy the content, we would love to pick up the subscriptions and the likes. It helps get the video out to more folks. And you all have a great day, and I'll see you very, very soon.